Greetings, everyone. DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey, guys. Um, Last night I shared a video concerning inheritance and the importance that it plays in the life of generational wealth. And there was one other message that I wanted to add uh, to that conversation. So, going to be brief. So, if you can just tolerate me for a couple of minutes, I'd really appreciate that. Okay. And but something that struck me that I did not mention was that whenever you're doing business, and I know most people may know this already, but unfortunately, there are those who allow trust in business to, I guess, come together, kind of collide, and not realizing that uh, trustworthiness is not always, in terms of taking someone's word, it's a good business practice. Ronald Reagan once said, we should, trust but verify. And I concur. I think that to ensure that everybody is doing things the right way, every process is in alignment, from a legal perspective, whenever you're doing any kind of business transactions where contracts are involved, those contracts need to be validated, notarized, whatever the legal processes are. Now, you may ask, well, why is there a particular reason that I bring this up? Yes, there is a reason I bring it up. Because as you heard in my message last night, there was a promise made to me by my father in the presence of my stepmother that at my father's passing, at my request, there was a portion of his inheritance that she was instructed and agreed to, I might add, to pass on to me at a time to be determined by myself. Well, at my father's passing, unfortunately, after my father passed, about a year or two later, I revisited with my stepmother, and of course requested that she honor my father's, you know, um, request or desire of her to pass on a portion of his inheritance, so that inheritance would not leave, several generations, as it relates to my family. And she was very emphatic about denying that request, not denying that he said it, but refusing to honor it. And of course, it was very disappointing to me. And later on in the will, my father, as you remember from the conversation last night, did not put that information in his will, which unfortunately gave her the power, as the execution of the will, as well as everything being willed to her, to not have to legally honor it. So I would say this to all of the fathers in the hearing of my voice, mothers too, where it applies. When it comes down to wealth, make sure you get things documented. Make sure that everything has gone through the proper legal processes, validated, and then make sure that it's either notarized, sealed, whatever has to happen to ensure that after your death, that your wishes and desires are carried out, 100% to what you um, would like to have seen done. My father, unfortunately, did not follow through, and the consequences, as I stated, now that generational wealth, 150 plus acres, and other valuable assets are now leaving his generation, and my 10 siblings are all left, unfortunately, with nothing to pass on to the next generation because my father not being an astute business person. Okay, at least not as astute as he could have been or he should have been. He was a smart man, but again, because of other issues, bitterness, a breakdown in what should have been able to be divided out as personal versus business. He, for whatever reason, allowed his emotions to supersede his logic. And whenever you do that, especially as a male, you're going to create, some problems that unfortunately are going to come back and hurt you and maybe even those around you who are counting on you, me, us, for protection, short term and the long term. So again, um, just as a remembrance to you, make sure you do things by the law. Make sure you have everything documented, everything you have written out clearly, clearly explaining what you want to have happen, and then make sure it goes through all the legal processes as well. So that way, you can ensure that the final destination of your cumulative wealth ends up with the people that you want to have that wealth. Okay, and for individuals, again, I'll end this video with you know uh, a good Proverbs 13 and 22 says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So in essence, my grandchildren should benefit from my hard work, and that hard work, as I pass on, or my cumulative, not necessarily hard work, but because of my wisdom, my ability to collect wealth, that it's going to bless them 2 or 3 generations down the road. And right now, guys, with the economy, all the challenges that young people are faced with, think about the advantages that your child would have by you giving them a head start, with wealth. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's something as a car or a house or, land, whatever it is, because again, that's one less thing that's going to be an expense to them, and that way they can take whatever resources they have and be able to build upon that. Okay? So thanks for listening. I hope this information you found informative. And if you like the information, I ask that you subscribe to my channel. You'll see it on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Any comments that you might have, Mr. Green would truly appreciate it. I'd like to hear your thoughts and comments around the video. And again, keep visiting the channel. You know what I'm saying? A lot of work to be done to get this right. Trying to ensure that, from a wisdom, cultural building, community building, role modeling example of what male leadership should look like is what we're presenting here, at Gideon's Flight. So, again, guys, thanks for everything. May Yahweh bless you, and take good care of yourself. See you next time. DFG, Gideon's Flight. Good night, everyone.